I haven't slept in 20 years. Tonight, that changes. When I was 10 years old, I drowned in a lake. I was gone for 8 minutes. No pulse, no breathing. The doctor said it was a miracle I survived without brain damage, let alone survived at all. My parents called it divine intervention. They were religious after all. But I wasn't the same after that day. Not just because of the flashbacks or the fact that I stopped going near water entirely. Hell, I couldn't even shower for weeks after. I know, gross. But something else was wrong. I stopped sleeping. Completely. At first, the doctors thought it was trauma. My body was flooded with adrenaline, making rest impossible. They ran tests, kept me overnight in sleep studies, even put electrodes on my head to monitor brain activity. But the results just confused them. My brain acted like it was sleeping. It cycled through REM patterns. My body entered the rhythms of someone in deep sleep. But I was awake, fully aware of every passing second, every movement around me. I should have been exhausted, delirious, unable to function. But I wasn't. I never felt tired. I never needed sleep. It should have been a real gift. That's what people told me when I got older. Imagine all the time you have now, they said. No wasted hours, and think of all the hobbies. But they don't understand. They don't know what happens when a person is awake for too long. Because we're not supposed to be. Because there are things in this world that only come out when we sleep. And if you stop sleeping, they notice. At first, it was small things. I'd see flickers in my peripheral vision, shadows that disappeared when I turned my head. I thought it was just exhaustion manifesting in weird ways. Except I never felt exhausted. Then, the whispers came. I'd hear them at night, murmuring just below the threshold of comprehension. If I turned on the lights, the voices stopped. If I played music, they slipped beneath the sound waves. No one else heard them. No one else understood what was happening because, well, it was just so inconceivable. I mean, you see it in horror movies, but those are just movies. Then they started getting closer. One night when I was 16, I woke up to find a man standing at the foot of my bed. This was the first time I had seen them. He was tall and thin, dressed in a black suit that looked soaked through, as if he had just climbed out of a lake. His face was wrong. Not distorted, not monstrous, just wrong. Like something copied a human face but got the details slightly off. His lips were too thin. His nose too sharp, too long. His skin too smooth. But his eyes weren't there at all. Just two hollow voids, darker than the rest of the room. I wanted to scream, to move, to do something. But my body was locked in place. I don't know how long we stayed like that. Minutes? Hours? I didn't blink. He didn't blink. He didn't even breathe. And then just as the sun began creeping through the blinds, he vanished. Like I wasn't even worth his time. Like he was just checking on me, watching over me, making sure I was safe. After that, I saw them everywhere. A woman in the reflection of my bathroom mirror when I got up in the middle of the night, watching me with her mouth stretched too wide, like she was screaming in silence. A child sitting on the floor of my room at 3 a.m., smiling as he looked at a toy car dripping in water. A thing, a shape, I can't even describe because it was wrong in ways my brain couldn't comprehend. Perched on my ceiling, his head crooked like a broken marionette. They never moved when I looked at them directly. Just watched. One night when I was 18, I got brave, or stupid, enough to whisper, "What do you want?" The man in the soaked suit smiled, slow, knowing. "You're not supposed to be here." I didn't know what he meant. I didn't want to know. But I do know this. Every night, people all over the world close their eyes and sleep peacefully, unaware that something watches over them, keeping them safe. Because something does. And I think I was supposed to die in that lake. I think whatever governs the space between wakefulness and sleep, the thing that lets people drift into unconsciousness safely, I think it missed me that day. I don't think I was supposed to come back. And now I'm stuck, awake in a world where I was never meant to stay. Because sleep isn't just rest, it's protection. And when you stay awake too long, they start to notice. They realize you could see them. And now, after 20 years of sleepless nights, the whispers have changed. Not a warning, not a threat, just a fact. Time's up. I don't move, I don't breathe. Because for the first time since I was 16 years old, they moved. The man in the suit tilts his head just slightly. The woman in the mirror curls her too wide mouth into a smile. The child on my floor stops smiling. And the thing on my ceiling? It climbs down. They were never watching over me. They were waiting. And now I finally understand. I wasn't supposed to come back that day. And tonight, I won't. And that was I Haven't Slept in 20 Years. Tonight That Changes by DreadfulFilm. I bet you're not that dreadful. I bet you're a great film. So this is another classic example of an interesting take on a normal thing, right? Where it's the idea of not having sleep and potentially causing delusions. But there's a bit more to it, because obviously this person was meant to have died, right? Or at least it's believed to be that they were supposed to have died, and maybe they were, because they didn't die, it destroyed some kind of natural order that we're not aware of, right? Such as, like, if you were to go along those kind of concepts, I guess you could say it would be like a balance, right? Where if somebody is meant to die at a certain time, like if you want to go with the idea of fate, destiny, grand master plan, however you want to define it, and then for some reason something stopped it from happening, therefore he does not die. And then because that has happened, it has changed the course of whatever the natural order is, which therefore causes problems and disturbances. And I mean, that's what I'm understanding anyway out of this. And I think it's quite interesting, especially because it's not just like, oh no, they think, they're never gonna be a normal person again and blah blah blah, never sleep again. I mean, first off, all right, can we all admit, I think to not have any side effects and to be awake 24/7, it's kind of awesome. I could catch up on a lot of shit. I really could. That'd be awesome. That'd be what a weird superpower, but a superpower I think a lot of us could really use, right? Glorifying aside, what we really need to think about here is the fact that it kind of jumps out to me that the creatures, I'm gonna use that word at the moment, these creatures that are there watching him are all wet, right? They're all soaked in water. I think that's to reflect the fact that he was supposed to drown in the lake, right? So that makes sense in my head. But I think if, say, he were to have meant to have died in a different scenario, it would still be these same creatures, but then they would be more reflective of whatever that situation was instead. Which makes me think these are kind of like, maybe soul collectors, maybe hunters. Clearly they're working for something or some higher power. That's what I'm kind of gathering out of this scenario. And some of the descriptions, first off, I've got to say, immediately made me think of things like Beetlejuice, because they have some like super weird moments where they have like, stretched faces and weird monstrous looks, and it's just really funny. So yeah, that was a thing that this made me think about was Beetlejuice. Another thing this story made me think about is the Russian sleep experiment. And, for those of you who don't know about that, which I get the feeling a lot of people do at this point, I mean, it's been out on the internet for ages. I'm not going to spoil it if you haven't read it. It's pretty wild. It's pretty freaking wild. I don't know if I'm allowed to read it. I'd have to have a look. Quite a wild story. It's a creepypasta. It's not real, so don't worry. A lot of people thought it was real, but no, it's not real. It's entirely fictional. Those things. I mean, I think there have been sleep experiments over the years. I get the feeling there have been. I don't think it does what happens in that story. I know it can have very detrimental effects on your health, so don't do crazy shit like stay awake for days at a time. That is, you can like destroy brain activity and things like that. You can really, really mess your health up if you were to do stuff like that. And I think in some cases, maybe people can die. I question mark on that one. I really don't know. Don't quote me. I get the feeling that's been mentioned somewhere and I've read it, but doesn't mean it's true. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I don't know all that stuff. But either way, this is a fantastic little story, and it makes me wonder where it's going to go. Right? If there is going to be more set in this universe, maybe there's a little bit more explanation about what's going on, because it's almost like they, after all this time, have been given the order to do something, right? It's very interesting. Makes me wonder what's going on a little bit more. But that's just me. Well, I have been Nate at Night. I've really enjoyed the story. Thank you yet again, DreadfulFilm, for this opportunity. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. What did you think about the story? What did it make you think of? Maybe other things that kind of jumped to your mind as well. I'm really curious. Really curious. This has been awesome. Thank you guys so much, and take care out there. Thank you to the YouTube and Patreon members who've been supporting this channel so far. This has been a fantastic effort. Thank you so much. I couldn't do any of this without your support, really. I really can't. Thank you. You can also show support through a donation at coffee.com/nateatnight, or whenever I'm live streaming through super chats of YouTube or through Twitch. And whenever you donate, I'll be sure to read your messages out on stream.